नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने।
नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने।
नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे।
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवीं गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे।
जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम Ramo Ramo Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan, Shri Govinda Gopinath, Madana Mohan.
Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan
श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन
Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan
कालिंदी जमुना जय जय महावान
Alindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan
जय जय राधा नटवर राधे
Jaya Radha Natavara Radha Natavara Radhe
जय गौर निताय गौर निताय गौर निताय जय गौरानिताय
Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai.
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
हरि नाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जाय, कलियुग धर्म हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जाय, श्री श्री राधा नटवर भगवान की जाय, हिताय गौर सुंदर भगवान की जाय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय, हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. And if you will, keep yourself unmuted so you can be my responder for Yashomati.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking so.
Thank you,
Since I
Prabhu.
didn't see Sharwani there, I thought you'll give that service to me.
Correct. She's not here at the moment, so I very much appreciate you doing this. Thank you, Prabhu. Yashomati Nandana Braja Baranagara Gokula Ranjana Gana.
यशोमती नंदना व्रजवर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना.
Yashomati Nandana Braja Baranagara Gokula Ranjana Gana.
यशोमती नंदना व्रजवर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना.
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara
गोपी परानदना मदन मनोहर.
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara
गोपी परानदना मदन मनोहर.
Aliyadamana Vidana
कालिय दमन विधाना.
Aliyadamana Vidana
कालिय दमन विधाना.
Amalaharina Mamiya Vilasa
आमल हरि नाम अमिय विलासा.
Amalaharina Mamiya Vilasa
आमल हरि नाम अमिय विलासा.
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bara
विपिन पुरांदर नवीन नगर भरा.
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bara
विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर भरा.
Kamsi Badana Suvasa
वंशीवधन सुवासा.
Kamsi Badana Suvasa
वंशीवदन सुवासा.
Raja Janapalana Surakulanasana
व्रज जन पालना सुरकुल नाशना.
Raja Janapalana Surakulanasana
व्रज जन पालना सुरकुल नाशना.
Nanda Godana Rakhovala
नंद घोधन रखवाला.
Nanda Godana Rakhovala
नंद गोधन रखवाला.
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara
गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर.
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara
गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर.
Sundarananda Gopala
Sundar Nanda Gopala
Sundarananda Gopala
Sundarananda Gopala
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara
Ramuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara
Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya
Rasa Rasikha Kripa Moya
Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya
Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya
Shri Radhavalabha Vrindavana Nattabara
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara
Shri Radhavalabha Vrindavana Nattabara
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara
Bhakti Vinodashraya
Bhakti Vinodashraya
Bhakti Vinodashraya
Bhakti Vinodashraya
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Radha Natavara Radha Natavara Radhe
Jaya Radha Natavar Radha Natavar Radhe
Jai Radha Natavara Radha Natavara Radhe
Jaya Radha Natavar Radha Natavar Radhe
Jai Radha Natavara Radha Natavara Radhe
Jaya Radha Natavar Radha Natavar Radhe
Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai
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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So my father-in-law just arrived, so I'll ask him to read the translation to the verse.
Hare Krishna. Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the transcendental lover in the land of Braja, the delight of Gokula, Kana, a nickname of Krishna, the wealth of the lives of the gopis. He steals the mind of even Cupid and punishes the Kaliya serpent. These pure, holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Krishna is the Lord of the 12 forests of Braja. He is ever youthful and is the best of lovers. He is always playing on a flute and he is an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of the inhabitants of Braja, the destroyer of various demoniac dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaja's cows, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the butter thief, and the beautiful cowhead boy of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna wanders along the banks of the river Yamuna. He stole the garments of the young damsels of Braja who are bathing there. He delights in the mellows of the Rasa dance. He is very merciful, the lover and beloved of Srimati Radharani, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the shelter and only refuge of Thakur Bhaktivinoda.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hello, hello.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we can hear you.
Okay. I gotta push the button again. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, the Samambonam, Chapter 9, Mother Yashoda binds Lord Krishna. Text number 10, 9, 1 and 2. Sukadeva Goswami continued, one day when Mother Yashoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn the yogurt. While churning, she remembered the childish activities of Krishna, and in her own way, she composed songs and enjoyed singing to herself about all those activities. Dressed in a saffron yellow sari with a belt tied around her full hips, Mother Yashoda pulled on the churning rope, laboring considerably, her bangles and earrings moving and vibrating, and her whole body shaking. Because of intense love for her child, her breasts were wet with milk. Her face, with its very beautiful eyebrows, was wet with perspiration, and the malati flowers were falling from her hair. While Mother Yashoda was churning butter, Lord Krishna, desiring to drink her milk, appeared before her, and in order to increase her transcendental pleasure, he caught hold of the churning rod and began to prevent her from churning. Mother Yashoda then embraced Krishna, allowing him to sit on her lap, and began to look upon the face of the Lord with great love and affection. Because of her intense affection, milk was flowing from her breast. When she saw that the milk pan on the oven was boiling over, she immediately left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. Although the child was not yet fully satisfied by drinking the milk from his mother's breasts. Being very angry and biting his reddish lips with his teeth, Krishna, with false tears in his eyes, broke the container of yogurt with a piece of stone. Then he entered a room and began to eat the freshly churned butter in a solitary place. But Yashoda, after taking down the hot milk from the oven, returned to the burning spot. And when she saw and that not present, she concluded that the breaking of the pot was the work of Krishna. Krishna, at that time, was sitting on an upside-down wooden mortar for grinding spices and was distributing milk preparations such as yogurt and butter to the as he loved. Because of having stolen, he was looking all around with great anxiety. Might be chastised by his mother. But he very cautiously approached him from behind. Then Lord Krishna saw his mother with a stick in her hand, and he very quickly got down from the top of the order and began to flee, as if very much afraid. Ah! All the yogis tried to capture him as Paramatma by meditation, desiring to enter into the with great austerities and penances. They failed to reach him. But Mother Yashoda, thinking the same personality, her own child, her own son, began following Krishna. While following Krishna, Mother Yashoda's thin waist was overburdened by her heavy breasts. Naturally, she had to reduce her speed, but because of following Krishna very swiftly, her hair became loose. The flowers in her hair were following after her. Yet she did not fail to capture her son. When Krishna became more and more afraid, admitted to being an offender, forced confession. As she looked upon him, she saw that he was crying, his tears mixing with the black ointment around his eyes. And as he rubbed his eyes with his hands, he smeared the ointment all over his face. Mother Yashoda, catching her beautiful son by the hand, mildly began to chastise him. Mother Yashoda was always overwhelmed with intense love for Krishna, not knowing who Krishna was or how powerful he was. Because of her maternal affection for Krishna, she never even cared to know who he was. Therefore, when she saw that her son had become excessively afraid, she threw the stick away and desired to bind him so that he would not commit any more further naughty activities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and no end, and no exterior and no interior, no front and no rear. In other words, he is all-pervading. Because he is not under the influence of the element of time, for him there is no difference between past, present, and future. He exists in his own transcendental form at all times. Being absolute beyond relativity, he is free from distinctions between cause and effect, although he is the cause and effect of everything. The unmanifested person who is beyond the perception of the senses had now appeared as a human child, and Mother Yashoda, considering him her own ordinary child, bound him to the wooden mortar with a rope. When Mother Yashoda was trying to bind the offending child, she saw that the binding rope was short by a distance width of 2 fingers. Unless she brought another rope to join to it, this new rope was also short by the measurement of 2 fingers, and then another rope was joined to it, was still short by 2 fingers. As many ropes as she joined, all of them failed. Their shortness could not be overcome. Thus Mother Yashoda joined whatever ropes were available in the household, but still she failed in her attempt to bind Krishna. Mother Yashoda's friends, the elderly gopis in the neighborhood, were smiling and enjoying the fun. Similarly, Mother Yashoda, although laboring in that way, was also smiling. All of them were struck with wonder. Because of Mother Yashoda's hard labor, her whole body was becoming with perspiration, and the flowers and comb were falling from her hair. When Lord Krishna saw his mother thus fatigued, he became merciful to her and agreed to be bound up. While Maharaj Parikshit, the entire universe, with its great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Indra, is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If the Supreme Lord has one transcendental attribute, he comes under the control of his devotees. This was now exhibited by Krishna in his pastime. Neither Brahma nor Lord Shiva, nor even the goddess of fortune, who was always the better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer from this material world. Such mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service. but he is not easily accessible to the mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self. While Mother Yashoda was very busy with household affairs, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, observed twin trees known as Yamal Arjuna, which in former millennium had been the demigod sons of Kuber. In their former birth, these two sons, known as Nala Kubera and Manigriva, were extremely opulent and fortunate, but because of pride and false prestige, they did not care about anyone unless Narada cursed them to become trees. Shishi Damodar Leela Ki Jai. So after this, of course, Krishna begins to pull the mortar. It gets stuck between the trees. He pulls it, and they fall down with a loud, crashing sound. Yeah. And then everybody is terrified that Krishna is going to be killed by these trees. Actually, my roommate in college in California, his brother was cutting down a tree, and it whipped in the last moment and killed him. So it's very dangerous activity. And big trees like this, and little Krishna, whoop, you know. But somehow or other, Krishna was safe, and Mother Yashoda was just astonished what had happened. So she took him, and then I guess gave him her milk, and everything was justified like that. Of course, the backstory we all know is that Nala Kubera and Manigriva were sons of Kubar, and they were enjoying themselves with young ladies, or I guess young women, and dallying here and there. Then Narada Muni came along, and the girls were not so intoxicated. They covered themselves up, oh my God. And the boys were just totally intoxicated, couldn't even tell they were intoxicated in front of a great sage. Very, it was abominable. So then Narada Muni thought they're acting just like, trees with no consciousness, no self-awareness. So you should become trees, And then they were lamenting and whatever. And Narada Muni said, all right, she'll stand in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj until the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, and he'll free you. Of course, Krishna himself thought, I have nothing to do with these guys, but because Narada has given his mercy to them like that, and of course, I have to go ahead and free them. And they came out, and they were shining like effulgence, and they offered beautiful prayers to Krishna. And then Krishna told them to go back to the heavenly kingdom, as I remember, and act properly, not be carried away by the opulence that you have like that. So, of course, I've heard that today is the anniversary, anniversary of today's Tritya. Tomorrow is Chaturthi. So this is the anniversary of Damodar Leela and also Deepavali.
Tomorrow, Maharaj.
Huh?
Tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Chaturthi.
Amavasya, Maharaj.
Amavasya.
Tomorrow the Amavasya. You checked it, Maharaj.
Yeah, they're combined together this time, though, because usually it's one day afterwards. Okay. Okay, so any comments or questions about this, about Krishna's pastimes?
If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself.
Because it's so instructive, and that's what the acharyas then make these accessible for us. So one of these verses here, which is number 10:9:21, and the Sanskrit is there. Nayam sukapo bhagavan dehinam gopika sutta janinam chatmabhutanam yata bhakti matam iha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous, loving service. But it is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self. So it doesn't mention it here, but he's also not accessible to those who worship him in Aishwarya Bhava, which is prominent in Dwarka, Ayodhya, and Mathura, like that. When the gopis came to Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse, all the Brajbasis came there because Krishna moved far away from Vrindavan. He was way over in Dwarka on an island, so no chance to see him or anything. But somehow or other, Krishna came there, of course, for the lunar eclipse, I guess solar eclipse. And the Yadus gave a lot of charity during the solar eclipse, and so many people came, different great princes, and with all their animals and infantry and their soldiers and their commanders in chief and their princesses. And they're bringing very, very nice, expensive gifts for Krishna. And then the Brjabasis showed up, and modernized to be like Nanda Maharaj with his cowboy boots on and his pickup truck, And so they came in their ox carts and things like that, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, we thought we'd see Krishna again, but just look what's happened to him. He's become a different person. Anya Desha, Anya Vesh, Anya Sangha. He's surrounded by different people, and beautiful princesses and so many things. So Brjabasis were feeling very intimidated by all this, But then, of course, they thought, okay, maybe this Radharani, talks with him. So then she made very, very deep appeal, and it inspired Krishna's Braja Bhava, and he could no longer maintain his bhava as Dwarkadish, like that, Dwarkanath. And then he said, Mayi Bhakti Bhutanam Amritatpaya Kalpate. Any who does Mayi Bhakti, my Bhakti, Amritatpaya Kalpate, he goes to Amrita, he goes to the immortal atmosphere, he goes to Vaikuntha, like that. But Madhishyam, but you have developed a different kind of bhakti, a different kind of devotional service. And that is the only reason for my coming back. So to catch Krishna, we have to develop this kind of bhakti. And it's not possible by the rules and regulations. It's only possible in the ultimate instance by being the mercy of Brjabasis and associating with them, And of course, they're not greedy or selfish. Actually, they're feeling, wow, the more people who can actually become Brjabasis, great. There's so much work to do. This Krishna is never ending in what he wants like that. So they're quite happy to extend their mercy. And by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, the mercy of Prabhupada, we're in such a wonderful position, So it's saying here he's not accessible to those who are doing great mental speculation, those who are doing great austerities in yoga, but it's also not accessible to those who are, when we're worshiping in Aishwarya Bhav, please free us from this problem, please protect us. Purport, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda, is very accessible, is very easily available to devotees, but not to tapasvis, yogis, jnanis, and others who have a bodily concept of life. Although they may sometimes be called Shanta Bhaktas, real bhakti begins with Dasya Ras. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Yata mam prapajante tam sataiva bhajami aham. Mama vart manuvartante manusya parta sarvasaha. 4:11. As living entities surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Everyone is seeking Krishna, for he is the super soul of all individual souls. Everyone loves his body and wants to protect it because he is within the body, as the soul. And everyone loves the soul because the soul is part and parcel of the super soul. Therefore, everyone is actually seeking to achieve happiness by reviving his relationship with the super soul. As the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedaischa sarer aham eva veja. By all the Vedas, it is I who am to be known. Therefore, the karmis, jnanis, and yogis, that's my book here. Therefore, the karmis, jnanis, yogis, and saintly persons are all seeking Krishna by following in the footsteps of the devotees who are in a direct relationship with Krishna, especially the inhabitants of Vrindavan. One can reach the supreme position of associating with Krishna. As it is said, Vrindavanam parityaja padam ekam nagachati. Krishna does not leave Vrindavan even for a moment. The Brajabasi, Mother Yashoda, Krishna's friends and conjugal lovers, the young gopis with whom he dances, have very intimate relationships with Krishna. If one follows in the footsteps of these devotees, Krishna is available. This is Rag Anuga Bhakti. And we should develop this. We should follow rules and regulations, get them down, practice, find out how to do them. And by doing that, we'll become, free from distress. Our life will become harmonious, auspicious. And then we can actually take up Raganuga Bhakti. We can actually see, okay, I'm making the offering every day at noontime, but how does Mother Yashoda offer lunch to Krishna? How do the cowherd boys offer lunch to Krishna? Jitatmana prasantasya paramatma samahitam. And then at that time, we'll actually come in contact. The Paramatma will be revealing certain passages in certain books to us, inspiring us to read certain things, inspiring us to have a certain association, start seeing pastimes and the things that are happening around us in the hand of Krishna. And then we can actually follow in the humor of the mood of one of these, Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda, Krishna's friends, the conjugal lovers, young gopis, who can be dancers, And we'll have an intimate relationship with him. And if one follows in the footsteps of these devotees, Krishna is available. Although the Nityasiddha expansions of Krishna always remain with Krishna, if those engaged in sadhana siddhi follow in the footsteps of the Nityasiddha associates, such sadhana siddhis can easily attain Krishna without difficulty. But there are those who are attached to bodily concept of life. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, for example, have very prestigious positions, unless they have the sense of being very exalted Ishvaras. In other words, because Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are guna avatars and have exalted positions, they have some small sense of being like Krishna. But the pure devotees who inhabit Vrindavan do not possess any bodily conception. They are fully dedicated to the service of the Lord in sublime affection. Prema. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore recommended Prema Pumarto Mahan. The highest perfection of life is Prema, pure love in relationship with Krishna. And Mother Yashoda appeared to be the topmost of devotees who have attained this perfection. Jai. So Prabhupada ki jai. So, anybody have any thoughts about this? How is your personal bhakti yoga developing?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanyavad, Ram Giridhar here. I have a question.
Oh, see, I've talked to you for so long. Yeah. Hello.
Regarding this Raganuga Bhakti that you just mentioned that, one may have developed, I can understand for a Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we have to develop by doing sadhana, association, reading various things. Is Raganuga something that we have to do an endeavor to develop, or Raganuga is something that gets manifested when we do Vaidhi Sadhana?
Well, I think the Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion, probably explaining, two ways. One is this, that, Krishna by himself or through his devotee decides to, make this available to inspire us in this pathway. And the other one is that just by following the rules and regulations, assist in the process given by an acharya, then we become fit, to start taking up this process. Like I was saying, maybe you finally got it down. You're initiated devotee, you're second initiated. You're doing the noon offering for, Radha Sarti every day, Pujari, and everything is on time. And there's just no room for anxiety in your life because everything is Krishna's service one after another, and you have enough understanding of how Krishna is transcendental. So you're liberated, And of course, there's something squeezing through here and there, but your intelligence corrects them. Oh, no. But then you're thinking, okay, every day is one wet sabji, one dry sabji. There's puris, there's savory, pakoras, salt, pepper, tulsi on everything, nectar, water, sweet, rice, dal. Okay. So every day, and cook very nicely, everything else, and pujari, you're offering it very nicely. But then the spontaneous thing at that point is, okay, it's just I'm doing everything on time, everything else, but there's no feeling really, Hey, Krishna, here's your lunch. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Yeah. No, 30 minutes. So then Prabhupada says we have to learn the little art of crying for Krishna. So in the beginning, where the Sahajiyas want to imitate these advanced devotees, Mother Yashoda, to enjoy. But a devotee at that point is inspired by, Krishna in his heart, by Radharani, and in waking up, and thinking, no, I don't want to enjoy, but let's, you know, we have nice decorations in the altar, things are clean. Well, at least I can have the mentality, you know, and try and develop a certain kind of proper mentality which will enrich the offering. So there's some people are thinking, how did Mother Yashoda offer lunch to Krishna? You know? And somebody else is thinking, oh, how did the cowherd boys? You know? So we're doing the same things, but now we're trying to adopt the mood, the perspective. And at this point, 2 years ago, Swami. So then, you know, you're getting, the super soul is guiding you. The right books are showing up, the right things like that. And so you can really feel the hand of Krishna in there and stuff. So yeah, there's endeavor, you know, and more endeavor. But now the endeavor is to try and understand the humor, you know, of Mother Yashoda. If you're if she's the Ragatmika devotee who's inspiring you, you know. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. It makes a lot of sense.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Okay.
So, I don't think that the Manigriva and Nanda Kubera have done any Vaidehi Bhakti. They were so opulent, they were son of Kubera. How they got?
Hello? Your voice disappeared. How they got?
Can you repeat your question? Your voice.
Got darshan?
Yeah, how they got, and your voice broke.
I think the question is, Maharaj, that how did they get darshan? I think of Krishna himself. I think his internet's back. That if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, you can.
They were so opulent and what do you call, totally intoxicated with wealth and probably their personal beauty too. That they got not only darshan of Narad but also of Krishna. They got audience, Krishna's audience. How that happened?
No. Again, like I was saying, there's Raganuga and Baba Bhakti. It can be either by our endeavor, you know, by following the rules and the regulations, we can become liberated and fit, you know, for that, or else Krishna can just do it. And he can just do it, or Narada Muni can just do it. Prabhupada gives the example that if the prince and princess want to go into the darkest, you know, part of the prison, who can stop them? You know? So that's why it's called causeless mercy. There's no reason for it. It's just Krishna is kind. You know, Radharani is the mercy of Krishna, and she's more powerful than Durga and more everything. So that's the ultimate nature of Krishna. And love exists because you are so kind. Yeah. So sometimes, yeah, it's just you won't find any cause for it. You know, this Krishna just does that, even in inspiring Narada Muni to set the whole thing in motion, like that as his instrument. Other than that, if we start investigating, you may discover that, yeah, these two particular people, they did something in a previous life. You know, they did something this way and that way, which then allowed them to be qualified. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, sometimes Krishna just does it. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
And Prabhupada says we can hope for that. Nothing wrong in hoping that Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, you know, will show us his form, and Prabhupada will give us darshan and show us that this all the delightful, you know, happy, you know, spontaneous, absorbing novelty, you know, in spiritual relations, spiritual life, the drama, which is ever expanding, new drama, you know, going on. You know? But simultaneously, even though we're hoping for it, we're not lazy, he's saying. From our side, we're trying to, you know, study, to do our work and everything else. So two things, looking out for the mercy, and simultaneously we're working hard to make progress of whatever tools we've already got.
Thank you, Maharaj. Are there any other questions for Maharaj this evening?
What's that mark on your forehead? Why you cut your hair that way? Is it true that women are abused in your movement?
Well, I think that's it, Maharaj. I don't think there are any other questions or comments. So with that,
Perfect.
Thank you.
8:30.
And enjoy the Krishna book and your hot glass of tea. And
Okay, I think we'll have a glass of root beer and I'll read the Upanishad.
There you go. There you go. All right. So we'll move on to the next part. Ramgiri Dai Prabhu, will you go ahead and unmute yourself and sing the Damodar Ashtakam prayer for everyone, please?
Yeah, sure. So this is a solo or we do repeat? How does it work?
I think you can do it solo, Prabhu.
Okay. नमामीश्वरं सच्चित् आनन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभियोलूखलादवमानम् परामृष्टम् अत्यन्ततो धृत्य गोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं मृजन्तम् कराम्बोजयुग्मेन साटङ्कनेत्रम् मुहुस्वसकम्पत्रिरेकाङ्कसन्ता स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिपदम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम् तदीयेषितज्ञेषु भक्तैर्जिदत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सदा वृत्तिवन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरे सातपीहा इदं देव पूर्णात गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्याविरस्तां किमन्ये इदं ते मुकाम्बोजम् अत्यन्तनीले वृतं कुण्डलैस्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तादरं मे मनस्याविरस्तम् अलं लक्षलाभे नमो देव दामोदरानन्द विष्णो प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जलाब्धिमग्नम् कृपा दृष्टिवृष्ट्यादि दीनं बतानु गृहणेश मामज्ञम् एद्यक्षिदृश्या कुबेरात्मजौ बद्ध मूर्त्यैव यद्वत् त्वया मोचितौ भक्ति बाजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकाम्ये प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेस्ति दामोदरेह नमस्ते स्तु धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयतरायत विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् जय दामोदरा जय माकञ्चोरा नन्दकिशोरा जय गोपाल बाला जय दामोदरा जय माकञ्चोरा नन्दकिशोरा जय गोपाल बाला जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped hearings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances. Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with three lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the nine processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopala in Vrindavana may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair, tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of yours, may the beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes. O Lord Damodara, just as the two sons of Kuvara, Manigriva and Nalakuvara, were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own prema bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation. O Lord Damodara, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent robe which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisance to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. Jai Shri Shri Radha Damodar Bhagavan ki jai, Yashoda Damodar Bhagavan ki jai, Damodarashtakam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ramgiri. If we could, Amit Bhaiya, if the girls are awake and nearby, can we have them sing the Nrsimha prayers, please?
Namaste Narsingaya.
Namaste Narsingaya.
Praladadadaine.
Praladadadaine.
Hiranyakashipurvaksha.
Hiranyakashipurvaksha.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Ito Narsingo Parato Narsingo.
Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsingo.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Nrsimha.
Bahena Singo Narsinga
Bahi Nrsingo Hridaye Nrsingo
Narasinga Madhim Sharana Prapade
Narasingamadim Sharanam Prapade
Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakamat Putta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvinga Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Jaya Narsinga Dev Jaya Narsinga Dev Jaya Narsinga Dev Jaya Narsinga Dev
Jaya Nrsinga Dev Jaya Nrsinga Dev Jaya Nrsinga Dev Jaya Nrsinga Dev
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Guru